chapter will or codicil. What is will? In Kannada they say Marana Shasana. Marana Shasana. Shasana means script, something of very important note written in, and which will come effect only after the death of that particular party who had written this one. So this and the will is also known as testamentary document. Testamentary document. What do you mean by will? One person being a owner of his self-owned property. You must know, among Muslims, since there is no joint family system, they are not at all having any ancestral property. Ancestor, the picture of saying something about ancestor property doesn't arise in Muslim, since they are not at all having joint family, undivided joint family system in them. So the property belongs to Muslim perhaps will be considered as self-owned property, and its inheritance and its succession, and finally to the whims of the testator, the person who is the real owner and would like to write down the will. What do you mean the will? It's a document, lawful document, legal document, testamentary document, wherein he is having an aspiration, willingness, likeliness to bequest his part or whole of the property to the someone he has affectionate towards them. This method of showing or conferring or bequeathing or dividing. Divide man, what do you mean by divide? Divide is giving away, giving that part or whole of the property to that one person who is very, very affiliated or with affiliation to that particular person. Here, whatever he thinks of giving away his part or whole of the property to one person or the other person or whole of the person or in the group or to the institution, everything will come into effect only after his death. That is, in Kannada we will say Marana Shasana. His intention, which has already been scribed in the document, that is testamentary document, that will come to effect only after the death of the writer. Who is the writer? Writer is the real owner of the property. That is a very important requirement. Everybody cannot write his will. Mere writing is of no use. Only to divide, only to bequest, only to transfer the real ownership of that property to someone whom he likes at most. This is the will. To come into the meaning, this is sufficient. Will is a testamentary document lawfully accepted, approved and recognized, and it can be done by any person during his lifetime, provided he is the real owner to the property of his own and would like to divide part or whole of the property to one of a known or unknown person with affinity, affiliation. This is the one. So coming to the Definition, meaning I have told. Coming to the definition, it is an instrument by which a person makes bequeath or divide or disposition of his property wholly or partly to someone of known or unknown nature in the vicinity of his relation or non-relation, with affection, intimacy and with intention. And that work will be done only after the death of the particular person being owner and the writer of the will. This is the definition. Confinement of rights of property in a specific thing or in a profit or advantage or in a gratuity to take effect on the death of the testator. So what are the elements comprised under this will? I will say two. One, the will is a conferment of right to one's property on another. Conferment, conferring, giving away of right to one's property on another. Second one is this conferment of right is to take effect only after the death of the writer of the will or the owner of the will. This is most important definition. Coming to another one definition which is widely been propagated is Tyabij. Tyabj. Tyabij says the legal declaration of the intention of a Muslim, the legal declaration of the intention of a Muslim with respect to his property, which he desired to be carried into effect after his death, that is the very important definition as per the Tyabij. So origin, coming to the origin of the will, so it is highly solicited aspect of Muslim tradition, and it runs very long back and the days of Prophet Muhammad only. So it has its prehistory nearing to the Prophet only. Muslim to make arrangement for the distribution of his property after his death was the practice through even will during the period of Prophet. So, general rule of making will. To begin with, you can say no formality required under the general rule. No formalities are required under the general rule. While making a will, any expression of unequivocal expression will suffice. That is sufficient. Will, the document, can be made either the way of orally or in writing. Oral way of making the will is a general occurrences, and it has its due relevances judicially. provided everything go smoothly without any chaotic or conflicting nature. So a will may be made either orally or in writing. It is not necessary that a testamentary disposition should be in writing. If it is made orally, no particular forms of words are required. So long the intention of the testator is very clear. Most of the Muslim people will do prefer only the oral type of making will, since it is a valid type. And coming to written type. Written type of will is also there. Even that is also not being adhered to any strict restriction. It is not hindered by usage of particular proper legal terms inside the will. With simple sentences one can construct the will, but intention must be clear, to whom it should go, how much it should go, and everything, because when is already confirmed, when will comes only after the death of the particular person who is the owner as well as the writer. Writer of the will is known as the testator. Writer of the will is known as the testator. He will write and he will show his intimacy. A Muslim will, though in writing, does not, a Muslim will, the document, though in writing, even to the oral as well as in writing, does not require to be signed, nor even if signed, does require attestation. Even probate is not necessary. Signature for every document written on the white sheet, it should be have a kind of ratification, attestation, signature with seal, date, time, and office address. No, not such things are required in case of will written very simply by and clearly by the Muslim. And one very important thing I would like to say, making of will, the procedure of the will, all are left to the whims of the Muslim. Because the provisions of Indian Succession Act of 1925 as well as the TP Act of 1882 to Muslim will does not applicable, are not applicable. The intention must be written and that should be carried out. That's all. So, since the provisions of Indian Succession Act of 1922 as well as few of the Transfer of Property Act of 1882 are not applicable to the Muslim will, it should be written very clearly and unambiguously. Then only it. So what are the requisites of a valid will? What are the requisites of a valid will? There are, while writing this one, either short note answer or the brief answer. Yes, there are 4 points. What are the requisites of a valid will? A will be known as valid only when it possesses the following 4 factors. What are they? Valid will with 4 factors. What are they? the testator must be competent to make the will. How he will become competent? He will become competent because he is having intention. More than that, he is having the property. More than that, he is the powerful or the ostensible owner to the property. And more than the intention is there to divide or bequeath his property to certain of his known or unknown or stranger or to that particular person through will. That is the competence. Second point, the legatee must be competent to take the legacy to whom he is giving, to whom he is making the will. He must be in a position to accept that content, that property, even to his death, in absence, even to the absence of the testator, the legatee has to accept those things. Then only the completion of the process, procedure and intention of the will complete, and good can be met out of this deed. And the third one, the subject of bequest must be a valid one. The subject of bequest, what are the things he is going to give off to that particular person through or by will, must be in possession of some value. And the total process should be valid. The subject of bequest must be a valid one. Fourth one, the bequest must be within the limits imposed on the testamentary power of Muslim. Only the feasible thing, only the approved and recognized thing has to be given through the will. Then only the legatee will take it and the whole completion will be completed, though the testator is not physically present. This is the requisite in case of will, writing will and making it a valid one. So coming to the competence of testator and legatee, that is the most important main question you can expect. Testator and his competence, his capacity, his essentiality, and his this one, and the legatees and his competence. Very simple, but be sure. Testator is the one person who will write down, and he is the real owner, and he has the intention to give out something to someone. Every adult Muslim of sound mind can make a will. Every adult Muslim with sound mind can make a will. What about a Muslim in a insane mood or lunatic? He can also make. Before to the execution, he must realize and he must be able to give his acceptance for the furtherance of the procedure of the will or to complete of this one. So, however, every adult Muslim of sound mind can make a will. This is the one. A minor is incompetent to make a will, but when a will made by the minor, it may subsequently be validated by the ratification on attaining puberty or majority. Even the minor can go for this, not only the major Muslim. Even minor can also give away his part of property through will, provided again he must ratify it, re-sign it, after attaining the 21 years of age, if you happen to be under the guardian, or 18 years of age according to the Indian Majority Act. A bequest made by a person of an unsound mind cannot be deemed valid initially. Luckily, if he becomes a man of sound mind subsequently, then all his old deeds can be reviewed and this particular bequeathing pattern, that is writing will, can be endorsed legally, and it may go according to his writing only. So who is minor? In the last class only I have explained you. This is a peculiar occasion. Will you consider the will as a valid provided the testator will commit suicide before writing the or while writing the will? Before or while writing the will, if a testator commits suicide or drinks poison or consumes poison, it is not being considered as valid. Under Sunni law, the will of a person committing suicide is valid provided under Shia law, a will made by a person who has done any act towards the commission of suicide is not valid. Shia people won't accept. Sunni people will accept committing suicide by the testator. Here one condition, one context is that sooner to the consumption of the poison or to attempting the suicide, he must not go for writing this. First you write down the will, that must be witnessed. First you write down the will document and then go for suicide, then this will be termed as a valid will. Consuming poisonous and finally sitting to write down the will, it doesn't be kept under valid. First you write down the will and later you can consume the poison or commit the suicide, then that particular will be considered as a. So these are the testator and his competence. Coming to the competency of legatee. Legatee means the fellow who accepts the part or whole of the property by will through the testator. Any person capable of holding property or receiving the property may be the legatee under a will. Not any person, that particular person to whom it has been destined, determined, addressed. Sex, age, creed, religion are no bar to take the bequest. Any strange person also one can write. Non-relative also one can write. No one can be made the benefit owner of the share against his will. So therefore, the title of the subject of the bequest can only be completed with the express or implied assent of the legatee after the death of the testator. That is, it should reach the legatee, whoever it may be. Even if he happen to be a non-Kitabi or non-Muslim, it can go. However, bequest to an institution. One by one I will give a illustration where that can be given away or given to. Bequest to an institution. A bequest may be validly made for the benefit of institution by will or through will by the testator. That is also accepted. Bequest to a non-Muslim. A bequest in favor of a non-Muslim is also valid. Next, bequest to the testator's murderer. You know the testator is the one who writes the will. And there is a fellow X, with intention or without intention, he will murder the testator. So, anything can go and reach any property, part of the property of the testator can reach that particular murderer. Yes. Bequest to testator's murderer. According to Sunni law, a bequest to a person who caused the death of the testator, whether intentionally or unintentionally, is invalid. In Sunni it is invalid. Under Hanafi law, again a subclass of Sunni, a will in respect of a person who has caused the death of the testator can be validated if the heirs have given their consent. If other family members, yes, according to my father's intention, it should go and read that fellow who had murdered my father. So when there is a consent among the other heirs, legal heirs, so then to that owing to the consent, it can reach the testator murderer. So fourth one, bequest to an unborn person. It is a very, very important question, a kind of confusing question being asked in the examination. In Hindu law it is there. But here, bequest to an unborn person. Yes, a child in the mother's womb, expected within 6 months. Among Sunnis, the bequest can go and reach. And the same thing, a child being in the womb and expected even after the 9th month, say 10th month, 10th lunar month, then also that unborn child can expect bequest of the property by will through the testator. Under Shia, 10 months is under Shia, 6 months is only under Sunni. This is only the differences to the unborn. So, here we may say unborn child also eligible to get the part of whole of the property by will through the testator, provided the condition is 6 months of his appearance in worldly appearance among Sunnis and 10 months of longest period of 10 months among Shias. Yes, the same by will through a testator. Bequest for a charitable. Here charitable is, work will come in, NGOs will come in. So, a bequest for the benefit of a religious or charitable object is also a valid one. Subject of will and its validity. What are the principles? To tell you, what are the principles? What are the principles of will? That is subject of will and its validity principle. The following are the requisite of a valid. I have told already the 4 numbers for the valid will. Here, the property must be capable of being transferred. Very first one is the property which is supposed to be bequeathed under this will must be of transferable nature, partiable nature, and of value, commercial value. The property must be in existence at the time of testator death. No expectation of coming after few years or to the date of death. No, not like that. The property must be in existence at the time of testator's death. Next, bequeath. The testator must be the owner of the property to be disposed of by the will. Bequest in future, and this is also one important interesting question. A bequest cannot be made for the future of anything to be performed or produced in future. For futuristic thought, the bequest cannot be made. Alternative bequest, contingent bequest, conditional bequest, bequest of life estate. It will run according to the circumstances. Conditional bequest is of void nature. Even the contingent bequest is of void nature. Coming to the alternative type of bequest, yes, you can go on amending, correcting, adding, deleting, and again writing. So in this kind of alternation bequest is okay, it is valid. Whereas conditional and contingent are not. Bequest of life estate. Among Muslims, that is Muhammadan law, bequest of life estate is not being recognized. That's all. That is sufficient for you people to understand and write down if it is asked in the examination. Coming to doctrine of consent and the retiable doctrine of consent. You must know, while making work as well as writing will, there is one important universal principle or law is applicable, that is 1/3. 1/3 of the testator property is only been 1/3 of testator's property may be given off through codicil. This is universal law, applicable both to the Sunni and Shia all over the world. So while writing the will, if the testator want to cross the limit of 1/3 of the property to someone whom he likes most, and that should reach him after his death by will, for that, the mere thing is he must accept or go for consent of legal heirs. If all legal heirs present there, if they give their consent, yes, 1/3 universal law among Sunnis and Shia can be overlapped or overcome, and more than 1/3 part of the property may be made by will through the testator or by the testator. This is doctrine of increasing the part of property while giving by will through the testator to more than 1/3 of his present property, avoiding or denying or not obliging the universal law either by Sunni or Shia. It is because of the concept obtained by all the legal heirs by the testator. This is known as doctrine of consent. Oppige. Consent. This is the doctrine of consent. And this concept, giving consent, is as a pattern. Either it may be express or implied in the written form or orally. And consent, revocation of will. This is important. What is revocation of will? A written will with intention of giving something, some property, part of the whole of the property, to one person, known, unknown, stranger, relative, distance, kindred, etc. Written document and its content may be altered any time, any number of time it can be altered till the death occurs. Even a minute to his death, if he alters his particular will, yes, it is accepted legally. So alteration can be of innumerous time. The very final will, written or produced, to a few minutes, up to few minutes of his death, will be considered as a valid. That means will can be changed at any time of his will. But the procedure must be same as it was. Express revocation, implied revocation, everything will be considered for the final format of the will. General principle. Here only we will come across rateable abatement. Under general principle only the rateable abatement will come. So what is rateable amendment? By rateable amendment is a proportionate reduction. It's nothing but a proportionate reduction. Proportionate reduction or deduction. A proportionate reduction where a bequest of more than 1/3 of the property is made to two or more persons and the heirs do not consent. There is no consent by the legal heir. However, he made the will among many, 1 or 2 or 4 members. But it should not go away from this 1/3. This one. When there is no consent, it will not go away from 1/3. So at that time, to what extent he had done within 1/3 of the property, that again will be proportionately divided into parts and will be given to the person to whom he has made 1 or 2, according to the part only, the party will get this one. So a proportionate reduction is nothing but a rateable amendment. It will be within 1/3 of the testator property under the universal law among Sunni and Shia, because it doesn't have any consent of legal heir of that family which belongs to the testator who wrote the will. That is the one. So doctrine of consent and the rateable abatement, that must be written with reference to the 1/3 of universal bequeathing of universal law. Coming to the differences of will in Sunni and Shia. This is very important. There are nearly 8 points. I will go on telling you one by one. First I will go to Sunni and Shia with comparison to Shia. Differences of will in Sunni and Shia schools. First one, bequest of any portion to an heir without the consent of other heir is invalid among Sunnis. Yes, you can bequest any portion of the property, but consent must be there prior to the bequesting. Yes, prior to writing down the will, if there is a consent of the legal heirs, it will be accepted, or else it will be of invalid nature. A bequest to the extent of 1/3 can be made to an heir without the consent. Among Shias, no consent is required. Within 1/3, if it is 1/3, yes, he can go. But even to the 1/3, yes, consent if it is there, it's of good, or else it's of invalid. So coming to the Sunni, a bequest to a child in whom is valid if it takes its birth within 6 months under Sunni. Here within 10 months. Third one, a legatee, the one who accepts the property, who causes death even by the accident is disentitled. Knowing that particular legatee, before to the accepting the testator property, he will go with killing that particular testator with intention or without intention, that will be denied here. He will not at all be accepted as valid. Whereas here, intention will be looked into. Under Shia, intention, whether it was accidental or with intention. So the intention will play a vital role in order to prove that will should be followed to him or not. Fourth one, not only while writing the will, even to the after the death of the testator and before to the execution of the will, the consent of the legal heir must be obtained among Sunnis. Here, even before to the death or after the death of the testator, the consent of the legal heir may be obtained owing to the circumstances. Fifth one is, among Sunnis, ratable amendment theme is accepted. They recognized the ratable distribution. But under Shia, ratable abatement is not recognized. Sixth point is, among Sunnis, a will of a person committing suicide is valid. Suicide, a testator suiciding before to the writing or after the writing, say after the writing, is valid. Here among Shias it is valid only when the will is made before taking any steps towards the act of suicide. Here it should be after the writing the will. Seventh point under Sunni is, if the legatee does not survive the testator, legatee must be there and testator must go. The death of testator only will benefit the legatees. But in reverse case, if legatee himself died before to the testator, the whole of the property, where again it goes back to the ancient stock, old stock only. The legacy does not lapse, but passes to the heir of the legatee. Here, yes, will is already over. The particular person to whom the will was written, that fellow had died. However, his legal heirs are there. to them they will distribute under Shia. They are more rational and moderate in this respect. If legatee dies, everything will go back to the old stock. But here, if legatee dies before the testator, instead of going back, it will again be redistributed among the legal heir of that particular legatee to whom the name was addressed in the will by the testator and to his death, testator after the testator. The final comparison or differences is acceptance of the legacy before the testator death is of no effect. Acceptance of the legacy before the testator death is of no effect. It doesn't happen at all. It will not be carried out. However, if there is any chance or perhaps it happens, so it has of no use among Sunnis. Whereas acceptance of legacy during the testator is often will be considered as a lawful under Shia. Coming to the very important differences of will, this particular will what I have stated, illustrated in detail, in respect of hiba. Hiba means gift. This is wasiyat. So wasiyat and hiba, they may, instead of this term, if they give this one, you shall not be confused, because it's a Muslim law. Arabian term, usage of Arabian term is a common initiate. So, difference of wasiyat and hiba, a general comparison you have to give. First, you know what is gift. Giving gift on many occasions. Gift is an immediate transfer of right of interest, right of power, right of ownership, and ours interest will go away along with this. Will is a transfer of right to take effect after the death of the testator. TP Act, Succession Act. Gift is an immediate transfer of the right or interest to that legatee only you will give, or to the donee only you will give. And here the will is transfer of right to take effect after the death of the testator. So in a gift transaction, delivery of possession is necessary that he must present there, the donee, donor must be there and donee must. Something must be exchanged with the exchange of right and ownership. Whereas will, it is not required. Testator must have died, and here only the legatee will be present and he will accept this. The subject of gift must be in existence at the time of gift. While giving gift, that valued article, object, subject must be there in the hand, and it should be handed over with reverence to the donee. That is there in gift, but it need exist at the time of making the will. So it is sufficient that at the time of the death of the testator, everything must be intact, those parts to be given off to the legatee. Fourth one, right of donor to a gift is unrestricted. Right of donor to a gift is unrestricted. The right of making a bequest is limited in two ways. Fifth point, after completion, a gift cannot be revoked. After the completion of giving away, the gift cannot be revoked unless by a formal decree of the court. If court comes in and it intervenes and after all its procedures, yes, a will may be revoked at any time after making it. Whereas revocating the will is very easier to the gift. Usual gift will not be revoked. And the sixth and final point is doctrine of Musha, M-U-S-H-A-A. Doctrine of Musha has no application. Doctrine of Musha has no application in case of disposition made by the will. This is to the will. Doctrine of Musha has no application in case of disposition made by the will. These are the very important 6 differences we had in amongst this will and gift. So for this we are having nearly 8 numbers, and I have already illustrated. So with this I will conclude today's chapter, will or codicil. It is nothing but a testamentary document, and the testator or the will itself is known as wasiyat, and the testator who wrote down this wasiyat is known as wasiyat nama, the document that is known as testamentary document. In Kannada it is known as Marana Shasana.